On here with a coach that you all know very well, the leading man at American Kickboxing Academy, Javier Mendez. Javier, how are we doing today, man?
I'm doing good, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate it, man. I know you're a busy guy, so lots going on. Want to talk to you about a few of your fighters, but I guess wanted to ask. We just saw a few minutes ago, actually, Islam Makhachev put out a tweet saying he wanted to fight Leon Edwards in Abu Dhabi. We're kind of thinking about who his opponent's going to be, and Charles seems like he's ruled himself out. Alex Volkanovski just put out a few hours ago that he just got out of elbow surgery. So what are you thinking? Do you think this Leon Edwards fight is a possibility, or what do you think Islam wants to do?
Knowing Islam, if Islam is saying, "Hey, Leon, let's go," then I would think if the UFC can make that happen, Islam would be more than happy to do it. He likes challenges. And if there's no real challenger out there for him right now, then why not? So then that leaves what? Gagey and Dustin potential winner, right? From what you're saying, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
imagining, right?
yeah, I guess by the process of elimination, but you got to figure that those two guys, I know that fight's, a couple of weeks away here, but I imagine they're going to put each other through hell, right? So coming out of that, maybe
Yeah. So
you never
how
know.
healthy are they? Yeah, how healthy are they going to be? How much time are they going to need? So I can see Islam doing exactly that because I mean he's looking at his options. And if you said Alex is out because of elbow surgery, and then Charles, well, what about if they talk Charles back in? Charles may go, wait a minute, if I don't take this fight, I'm healthy, and I'm trying to start strong arm them, meaning that he's only holding out because he wants it in Brazil, right? And it might be his only opportunity. Charles may go, you know what? No, I'll fight him in Abu Dhabi again because I'm the champion and I want to prove it. So I'm going to come to your territory again. I lost my title to you there. Let me try to win my title from you there. So I could see the UFC working on Charles because there's no injury, right? It's just his desire to make it in Brazil, right? Am I correct on that?
I didn't get the chance to speak with him when he was doing those interviews, and no one really pushed him hard enough to say exactly why. He just said he wouldn't be ready to fight there, but indicated, he could fight in New York in November or something, which is only like 2 or 3 weeks later. So the timing does seem a bit interesting.
Well, it does, right? I mean, how many times, unless you're injured, unless you have something going on, you only need 2 months to get ready for a world title fight. You only need 2 months. So he's got more than 2 months now. If there's nothing wrong with him, if it's a matter of just what he wants, and hey, you can't blame him. Hey, the guy's had quite a few defenses and has some great moments. And after a while, you have to feel like I'm the boss. I'm in charge of my own destiny. So let me call the shots. And I can see Charles feeling that way, and I don't blame him. I don't blame you. If you don't ask, you're never gonna get. You gotta ask. And so like Islam, if Islam didn't ask for Leon Edwards, you think that might have happened? Probably not, right? Now it's in everybody's minds. Okay, because Islam has spoken about at one point going up to the welterweight division, and here we're at that stage right now where all the other guys are knocked off. What's the new challenge, right? Leon Edwards is a challenge.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And we know Islam, he's a very smart guy. I don't think you would put out that tweet for no reason, right? So I'm curious to know exactly what's going on, behind the scenes with all these other potential options for him too.
Yeah, I would think that I haven't spoken to him, but I would think that this is a move that gets attention, and it's a move that creates the fans' interest. So I think that there might be talks behind the scenes. Who knows? Who knows? I'll never know. I'm always the last to know. I'm always like, Coach, we're fighting so and so. I go, okay, okay. I'm always out of the discussions on fighting when it comes to Habib's more in that. He's in the discussions with those guys. He tells me after, how Habib, Ali, and Rizwan, those are the guys that are involved in the negotiations. I'm just in the training aspect.
Yeah, exactly. From that training aspect, and I guess just preparation, assuming, maybe this fight with Leon did happen, would you endorse the timeline of it? Like a move up 3 months? Do you think that's enough time for Islam to do whatever he needs to do physically to maybe prepare himself, not only to fight in that weight class, but to fight the champion of that weight class?
Yeah, yeah, he only needs 2 months. I mean, Islam's a big guy normally anyway, so he's still, it's just like Alex, when Islam fought Alex, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm only going by what I read, that that they said that Alex was the day of the fight 2 pounds heavier than Islam. So, it could end up being the same type of scenario where if match with Leon does materialize come fight time, I would not be surprised if Islam could be, 2 pounds heavier or 2 pounds lighter. You know what I'm saying? Islam is a big guy, just like Alex is a big guy, and that's something people they don't seem to get to understand is like, when Islam fought Alex, he fought Alex at 155. He didn't fight him at 145. It was a 155, and actual fight day, one was heavier than the other.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like Volkanovski might still be in play too. He seems to think he can recover from this in a few weeks and then get into a camp for Abu Dhabi. Does that one still, like, as a coach and as a team, is there a desire to have like more clarity? I was cage side in Australia. I thought Islam won 3 rounds to 2, but there is people out there who feel differently about the scoring of that fight. Is that something that you guys kind of want to silence at all and make it more definitive next time?
Well, for me, it was 4-1. So I,
Yeah,
I actually favored is bigger than that. I thought
there you
three
go.
to two at whatever worse, but I didn't think more than that. And I think it was because the Rocky scenario, Rocky finished strong at the end. Everybody thinks Rocky won, but Apollo Creed kept the title. So it's kind of one of those scenarios because he did the last minute. Let's face it, the last minute was a very dominant minute for Alex. The last minute of that fight. But outside of that, there was no dominant anything. It was him being taken down, it was him being outstruck, and it was him, playing it up for the crowd, like, oh, you ain't doing nothing, you ain't doing nothing. But yeah, you're losing control, and so people's minds are looking at somebody and go, well, he's doing better than we thought. So obviously, in their eyes, they're thinking, well, this guy must be the winner, because if the way you look at the fight, everybody was thinking that Alex won, that was on Alex's side, but everybody that was neutral, or of course it was on Islam's side, Islam thought won. But all the neutral people, they knew Islam won.
Yeah, no, I thought he won for sure, but I would love to see a rematch. It was an amazing fight, so I guess we'll see what happens. I know that's cards coming up soon, so hopefully we'll get some answers in the next days or weeks here.
Yeah, that's a fight that I welcome too, because it's going to be a different fight. They got their homework, we got our homework, and we'll make adjustments. They'll make adjustments, and then you got two of the greats, pound for pound guys, going at it again. And this time I'm not even going to go who's number one, who's number two, because it just makes zero sense to me how you can say this fight's for the pound for pound, and the guy that won didn't get pound for pound. How does that make sense? I don't understand, especially being the weight's the same, and the other guy was actually heavier. I don't get it, but that's okay. It means nothing because the person who holds the title holds the title.
Yeah, agreed. How much better do you feel Islam has gotten since that fight? Because I know there's, the people that want to hate on him saying, why isn't he being more active? But I know he's been ready to fight for months and the UFC just wants him for Abu Dhabi. So that's why he's kind of been held out. Have you seen, from what you either heard, or I think he was at the gym at some point since the last fight, right? Have you seen a lot of growth in his game?
Every time I see Islam, I always see growth in his game. He's always evolving. He's always getting better. He knows what he needs to do, and he knows what he needs to work on, and he's always active. That's the one thing about my Dagestani guys is no matter what season, no fight, they're training. They're always training. They're always doing something. And Islam is an adventure type guy. He's either doing riding motorcycles, riding horses, or fishing, or something of that nature. This outdoorsy type, this physical. He's always going to be doing that. That's his lifestyle. So I'm always expecting that he's always going to be not far out of shape. Never. Since I've known him, I believe in 2014, 15, since I met him, he's always been this way, hasn't changed as far as his activity outside of fighting. and I don't see it changing anytime soon. I see him following his goals, and his destiny to continue to fight, in the lightweight division. And if there's nobody there to fight, then going up to welterweight, like he has mentioned. And these are not my words; these are his words, that I want to eventually challenge myself and go to the welterweight division, and whoever holds the title there, challenge for that title. And I believe he can do it. I mean, I know he can do it.
Yep. Very interested to see what happens. And of course, you met Islam through Khabib. And I'm curious, when they announced this George St-Pierre grappling match for the end of the year, everyone's saying, it's got to be Khabib. We want to see Khabib doing it. I know he is very happy in retirement and MMA is behind him, but do you think he would be open to competing in a grappling match, and especially against George, who is obviously, one of the big fights that didn't get to happen in his fight career?
I think it might be of interest to him, but because Habib's always training. It's not like he doesn't grapple. He grapples all the time. So he hasn't stopped training. He just doesn't train to fight, but he still does his cardio. He still grapples with the guys, because like he always tells me, how the guys going to get ready for my level if they never know my level? So he grapples with the guys, up and coming guys, all the time. That's why you see all the guys that I train that are Team Khabib. That's why their ground is so darn good, because they have Khabib, who had his father train him, on how to keep their grappling up, and Khabib does that, So I don't know if Khabib will do the competition, because he stated that his family it's what it's all about, more devoted time for the family. And knowing him, any challenge is a work, right? So he's gonna have to stay focused on one particular thing. He's not gonna take it lightly if he does. So I don't see that happening, but I could be wrong, because I never spoke to him about it. If there's any interest to him. But in my opinion, there is no better match to make than that one.
Yeah, I think people would love to see it. Hopefully they can make something happen. Do you have, I know you follow the sport closely, if you could pick someone to see grapple George St-Pierre, who would it be?
If not Khabib, Islam.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good choice as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a great one, because Islam and him will go at it. There ain't gonna be no cakewalk for George whatsoever. He's got his hands full with Islam too. He had his hands full with Khabib. He'll have his hands full equally with Islam. So either one of those guys. But I doubt. I think Islam's more likely than Khabib, only because of the desire, right? And for Islam, it would be a great challenge if the UFC would allow something like that. And I don't know if they would.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Will you be in Umar's corner next month against Cory Sandhagen?
Yeah, if everything goes according to the way things are going, yes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a huge opportunity for him. Credit to Cory Sandhagen for, taking a fight that a lot of people wouldn't down the rankings. But this is what you guys have been waiting for, right? Like the chance to prove himself against a highly ranked contender. How ready do you feel he is for this moment?
He's ready. I mean, right now he's in Vegas, but he's ready. He's been training for 2 months plus, and he's ready to go. Let's see what happens. Hopefully everything goes according to plan, and we'll be there. And he get to show everybody how good he is, because he's not Khabib, he's not Islam, he's Umar. He's got his own style, and he's a champion in his heart and his abilities. And we've yet to see how far he can go, because we never had him with a high level opponent, and this is a high level opponent that I'm very anxious to see how he'll do.
Yeah. Do you feel like for a challenge like this, like as you said there, you can think and see someone in the gym and assess their talent, but to actually see it in practice and that, do you feel like that's more of a mental thing to be able to move to that next level and transfer your skills from the gym into a fight like that?
Yeah, mental is a huge part of the fight game, and one thing Umar has always had, the mental. His brother Usman, who's the Bellator champ,
Yep.
a few years back when I was working with Usman, I called Khabib and I begged Khabib, please, I need your help with Usman. I go, I don't have him. I need you to help me get him on track. I mean, his physical ability is off the chart. Usman's physical ability is off the chart, but his mental wasn't quite there. And so Khabib, okay, coach, okay. So we got on Usman, and then I said, okay, we got him. And then that's when I started boasting the champ's coming, and he won the title, and you know, and he's going to win the $1 million tournament too for Bellator. You'll see. I mean, come on, he was the only guy that ever finished Benson Henderson, and no one's ever finished him, and he did it in an incredible fashion that's never been done to Henderson. You know, and Benson thought he was going to win that fight for sure.
Yeah.
He thought he was on his road to winning 3 titles, and you know, and he should be confident because he's a great champion for a reason. But Usman showed he's the new up and coming champion that needs to be reckoned with, and it's just a matter of time before the whole world realizes how great Usman is.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. You can see it from if you just watch enough of his fights, the talent level. Have you ever had to check another fighter like that? And, you know, whether it's to another coach or Khabib and be like, hey, like maybe there's something that's not registering there, and kind of have to, you know, put the guy in his place, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, there's been a few, but to be honest with you, we both never got to do it. There's been a few I won't mention, but there's been a few other ones that we never got to do it, and I needed Habib's help, and more my help was needed on them, but I never got to get with them, you know. But it's very important that you're there physically with them. You can't just do it over the phone. It's got to be in person. You got to. There's a lot to the mentality of how to bring a champion and what you need to do for that champion material to come out. And I've been doing it for long enough to know that it isn't the technique that I show you, but it's the mentality that I instill in you, and the winning attitude that you know that is created with all the coaches, me, Habib, like Cain Velasquez and Ron Kessler, and all the other great coaches that Habib has at home. You know, Magomed, who's a great coach over there, the head coach. They're all come into play, and the mentality is crucial. It's crucial. Pad holding is great. I'm not the greatest pad holder whatsoever, you know, and I never claimed to be. But my game planning and my mentality on how to get a fighter ready for battle, it is top of the game. You know, I'm definitely up there with all of them in regards to getting a fighter mentally prepared right.
For sure. And I know we're short on time here. So just last thing I wanted to ask you, is there anyone else that we didn't talk about, or a fight coming up from someone in your gym, whether it's high profile or someone else on the rise that you're eagerly anticipating and that you're kind of circling on your calendar coming up?
Well, there's actually 2 fighters. One from my gym here, Mohamed Alarak. You know,
Okay.
he's 5-0. He's up and coming fighter, very young still, very hungry, very determined. And then for Habib, I have one guy there that I have very high, you know, high expectations from him. Named Amaru. I forgot Amaru's last name. I just know him as Amaru. And he's an incredible fighter. I believe he's 5-0 or 6-0 too. Those 2 fighters are watch out for in the very short near future. But probably next year or the year after, you'll be hearing a lot about both of those guys. Amaru from Team Habib, and Mo Alaric, Muhammad Alaric from here, aka.